Step up to the plate and get your QPL Special Edition Mets Library card. Current QPL card holders and new card applicants can get this free card at any QPL location. Learn more at queenslibrary.org/Mets and check out our amazing array of free books and services at Queens Public Library. Libraries are full of stories in a variety of formats, from picture books to large print, audiobooks to ebooks, and more. But there's so much more to the story. This National Library Week, from April 23rd through April 29th, discover everything that Queens Public Library has to offer beyond books. Visit queenslib.org/Library Week 23 for more information. Hip hop's 50th anniversary represents a milestone for a global genre of music and culture that started right here in NYC. Queens Public Library, with funding from the Institute of Museum and Library Services, is embarking on an epic year-long celebration. The programs that are part of this national initiative will be in person, live streamed, and archived for future generations. Register today to stay up to date on scheduled events at hiphop50.queenslibrary.org.
Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. I'm Christopher Galarza, Queens Public Library's Community Health Coordinator. Today we are joined by Toya Cook from the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Toya is a public health educator with 25 years of experience working with communities in New York, aiding those in need. Her work ranges from helping those from underserved communities who need assistance with HIV care and prevention to those who need help with creating and maintaining a healthy home. Toya prides herself in partnering with different organizations, such as the Queens Public Library, to make sure people have the tools and skills to maintain a healthy home for themselves and their loved ones. As Toya provides her program and teaches us about indoor air quality, please drop any questions, comments, or reactions in the chat. We are so happy to have Toya here, so today, please join me in welcoming Toya Cook.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As Christopher said, my name is Toya Cook, and I am a public health educator with the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. So today's presentation surrounding indoor air quality was comprised by New York City's Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, with the Bureau of Environmental Disease and Injury Prevention for the Education Community Partnership Unit. So as you can see, my email is on this first screen. It's tcook1@health.nyc.gov. So with that being said, without further ado, I'm going to begin this presentation. But before I begin, I hope everyone is having a really great morning and enjoying this brisk air that we have outside. This week is a perfect week to talk about air quality because the air quality has changed so much from last week. Last week it was very warm, and this week it is very cold. And the warmth brought about new buds on the trees, and the cold is blowing the pollen all around. So, if you're anything like me, you are suffering from both outdoor and indoor air quality. So with that being said, let's move on to our first few slides. So today's learning objectives will be that by the end of this presentation, the different indoor air issues how to control some common pollutants found in the home, and how to clean your home safely to minimize environmental triggers. So that's what the hope is, that we will have absorbed that information by the time we get to the end of this presentation. If there are any questions you have, you can write them down, you can put them in the chat, and I will do my very best to answer them at the end of the presentation. So I would like everybody to take a moment to just think about, why is the quality of indoor air important to keep a healthy home? Um, whatever you come up with, just hold on to that so that we can discuss later if we have the time. But or you can quickly place some information in the chat that would express how you feel about this question. So, on average, more Americans are spending way more time at home, at least 90% of their time indoors. And some air pollutants are concentrated at homes, and they're often 2 to 5 times higher than typical outdoor concentrations. And that's as per the EPA. But we're going to get into that. So, 90% of our time is spent at home indoors, right? And as the EPA said, it's 2.5 times more inside. So, um, when we first take a glance at this apartment, we can see that whomever lives in this home likes a clean and tidy space. At first glance, it looks clean and organized, and we can see that not only does this homeowner enjoy a clean and neat space, they also enjoy plants. They have several plants in this home, and they're probably placed them here for two reasons. One, it's practical. You add a little green to your decor for the aesthetics, but they are also there because plants offer so much more. They offer clean air. As humans, we breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxides. Plants do the opposite. So they help us to alleviate some of the air pollutants that could cause us to become ill in a variety of ways. And we will discuss some of those ways as we move along throughout this presentation. So, poor indoor air quality can cause some health effects. And these health effects can include headaches, tiredness, dizziness, nausea, itchy nose, irritant eyes, and a scratchy throat, and it can worsen other respiratory illnesses such as asthma. What kinds of things contribute to poor indoor air quality? So let's get into the heart of the matter. So there could be biological factors, there could also be chemical factors, as well as other pollutants. But on this slide, we're going to take a look at some of the biological factors that could contribute to poor air. So bacteria is number one. There are viruses. There are also animal and insect dander. So, for animal dander, pet dander is an allergic can cause an allergic reaction to proteins found in animal skin, cells, saliva, as well as their urine. Signs of pet allergies include those common to hay fever, such as sneezing, runny nose, watery eyes. Some people may also experience signs of asthma, such as wheezing and difficulty to breathe. But in addition to cats and dogs, we have cockroaches and rat urine. Not to two things that people want to talk about, but those two things can cause biological factors that can cause you to have allergic reaction. The same is true with dust mites. Mites are tiny, tiny organisms. They're tiny bugs that commonly live in household dust. And signs of dust mites can cause you to have allergic reactions that can show up as common hay fever, sneezing, and runny nose. But you have to ask yourself, where do these dust mites live? Yes, they live in the little dust balls that we may have in the corners of our home, but they also live in our pillows and in our mattresses. So it's a good idea to clean these items because that will help you to reduce the allergic reactions that you have to your regular common household items. Plants can also be a source of an allergic reaction, right? Through the pollen. So, pollen is one of the most common triggers of seasonal allergies. Many people know pollen allergy as hay fever. Again, runny nose, mucus production, watery eyes, sneezing, itchy noses, eyes, as well as your mouth, especially in the back of your throat. It can cause stuffy nose, red and watery eyes, swelling around the eyes, and if your pollen allergies are at the highest, like mine's, then it would be no surprise to wake up and have hives all day, um, or have hives that last all day, or require an antihistamine that can cause you drowsiness. And it's kind of hard to go to work if you're drowsy. There are also fungal spores or mold. So those are things that are just mold is just found in the air the same way pollen is in the air. There's really nothing we can do about mold in the air as well as the same issue we have with pollen. We just have to remember to wipe our hands and our face at the end of the day to remove any pollen. The same is true for your hair. You should wipe it out at the end of the day to ensure that you're not bringing the pollen into your home, laying down on your bed or other items in your home, especially things that have soft fabrics, because that pollen will just transfer. Indoor chemicals. So, what are indoor chemicals? They can be found in the building's furnishings, floor cleaners, adhesives, paint, dry cleaning, aerosol sprays, which we use for housekeeping, and scented candles. So, under building furnishings, right, that can include carpeting, upholstery, or manufactured wood products. Mostly, though, it is the soft fabrics that we have on our couches, our curtains, our rugs. If you use throw pillows, they collect a lot of dust because they're just sitting all day on your couch. As pretty as they are, they can really cause you to become ill if you suffer from uh, airborne allergies. Aerosol spray is something else that can cause you to have an allergic reaction. We use a lot of aerosol sprays in cleaning. But, what is an aerosol spray? It is a type of dispensing system which creates an aerosol mist of liquid particles. So, right there, it tells you that there is something that we're putting in the air that may not work so well with those of us who have these allergic reactions, especially those who are triggered via airborne allergens. We must be mindful when we're burning scented candles because of the formaldehyde, which is a colorless, flammable gas that has a strong odor. Exposure to this may cause adverse health effects. Resin that is used in the manufacturing of wood products can also be a problem for those of us who have allergic reaction triggers. Hardwood, plywood, particle board, those things can be um, the kinds of things that can cause airborne allergies, especially the adhesive that is used to adhere some of these particle boards to the wall. When you see the borders at the bottom of the wall, that adhesive on the back is very strong. It's a heavy duty chemical that can cause anyone to have an allergic reaction to its smell. But building materials can also be a problem, like insulation, household products such as glue or permanent press fabric, paints, coating, lacquers, and finishing, and other paper products can cause indoor air issues, and that's according to the EPA. So, under indoor air chemicals, we still have carbon monoxide, which we can get from our gas stoves, the car exhaust in the garage, kerosene heaters, boilers, and furnaces. So, those of us who live in homes where the garage is attached, um, we must be mindful that we keep that space ventilated so that the car exhaust doesn't cause us to become sick. Kerosene heaters, they're not used as much as they have been in the past, but there's something that we must pay attention to if we're using them. That needs to be in a place where there's some ventilation as well. The boiler and the furnace, they're there. So, they come with their own set of instructions that we must follow in order to allow them to work properly. But be mindful to keep certain places ventilated. Carbon dioxide, which is not enough fresh air. So open the windows. It's a good idea to open the windows every day for a little while, just to ensure that you're changing the air, that you're getting some fresh air. Gases that are released from stoves and kerosene heaters, as well as smoking, can cause indoor air quality issues. Lead on the wall as well as in the pipe and solder can cause air quality concerns. The same is true with tobacco smoke, vaping, marijuana, art supplies, especially the paints and the markers. Some paints and markers can be very strong. Some paint can take away all the fresh air in the home. So if you find that you want to paint, it is best to open the windows to allow some fresh air to come in. In addition to that, gases from mixing cleaners, right? One thing we know is that we should never mix bleach and ammonia together because it does cause a gas that can fill the room instantly, and that gas will choke you. It will cause your nose to run. It will cause your eyes to run. It's uh it's a little mini, explosion of gaseous air that we should not breathe in. So, just as a reminder, you should never mix bleach and ammonia together. Insecticides can also cause indoor air quality issue. So, in insecticides, the pesticides that are formulated to kill, harm, repel, or mitigate one or more species of insect. So, just imagine if we're breathing in something that can kill another living thing, it may not be so great for us to breathe that in. We must be mindful that when we're using these insecticides, that we should open the window and make sure that we have some good ventilation. It is also good to make sure you wash your hands with soap and water and dry them thoroughly after use with insecticides to ensure that it's not still on your hand and you touch yourself, because it may cause you to have an allergic reaction. There are other pollutants like particulate matter. So, soot from outside windows, on the bottom of your shoes, and paper dust, right? All can cause respiratory issues. When you come from outside, particular matter are tiny microscopic particles of solid or liquid matter that are suspended in the air, such as dust, pollen, soot, smoke, and liquid droplets. So we all know that soot can get on you just by walking by. The same is true with dust. If you walk through cigarette smoke, you know that that smell is going to get on you. So any particular matter in that smoke can also get on you. And that's not only true for cigarette smokes, it's the same thing for fire. If it's smoke, it's smoke. Liquid droplets, we've all had something splash on us from time to time. Most times it's something harmless, other times it may not be so harmless. Now that we've reviewed a few things that can cause our air quality to be compromised, we can take a look at things that can help to improve the air quality in our home. So, um, improving the air quality in your home, it's probably best to keep the air dry. And how do you do that, right? One way is to reduce the humidity. So, biological contaminants such as mold, which we spoke about a little while ago, mold is something that is just in our air. So, mold and dust mites can be controlled by reducing the relative humidity by maintaining at 30 to 50%, which is recommended by the EPA. So, it's a good idea also to help with improving your air quality in your home to remove standing water and to fix any leaks. Dry out floor mats and avoid carpeting in the rooms that can get wet, like in the bathroom and the kitchen. There's nothing worse than having a wet rug. But if we don't dry it out, it will produce mold. So, in certain rooms, like the bathroom and the kitchen, where water is highly likely to get on just about everything, it's probably in your best interest not to have carpet. A throw rug, a little rug to put in front of the sink, something that you can pick up, that's a different story because you can pick that up, you can wash that, you can hang that out to dry to ensure that there's no mold that you're breathing in on a daily basis. If something has mold on it and we're walking across it, we are releasing the spores. So, the best way to deal with that is to make sure that you can dry something thoroughly. Another way to decrease humidity in the home is by opening the windows. And if that's not enough, to crack the door. The EPA also suggests using a dehumidifier. A dehumidifier. I'm sorry, I didn't say that clearly, and I wanted to make sure I did. Okay, another way to improve the air quality in our home is to keep it ventilated. So, ways to keep things ventilated is by the use of proper ventilation. So, you open the windows for fresh air after you cooking, especially after showering, because um, humidity brings about moisture, moisture brings about mold. So, we want to keep our air quality great on the inside. So, mold is something that we need to combat. It's okay to after you finish painting to keep the windows open for a little while to ensure that you change the airflow in the home. Floor furnishings, the same thing, laying carpet using glue or disinfectants. You want to keep the space ventilated as much as possible. Make sure that any exhaust fans that you have in your home are working properly. And you can usually find those exhaust fans on the range hood that's over the stove. It's usually just a flip of a switch to turn it on or to turn it off when you're cooking something that that can kick up a lot of steam and air, especially like grease. If you're making steak or if you're frying something, it's probably a good idea to turn on your exhaust fan to absorb the pollutants that are coming off the cast iron pot pan, um, to make sure that your air is clear. Also, you can clean or replace your filters of the AC or your heating system. The those are things that we can change on ourselves. It's great if we can use the HEPA filters so that they can clean as much of the air as possible. Another way to improve the air quality in your home is to keep it clean. Washing the floors and the windowsills as well as your hands as often as possible. When you wash the floors in your home, not only are you getting up the dirt, but you're also getting up the pollutants that came into the home on your clothes, on your shoes. Some people take their shoes off at the door. I'm one of those people. I take my shoes off at the door, and I always keep a pair of slippers or some type of flip flop at the door because I am highly allergic to a lot of things, and I don't want to um, bring what got on me on the outside all the way in through my home. Um, I make it a point not to sit on my bed with my street clothes on or any of my soft surfaces so that I can keep the pollutants in one place. It's a good idea to wash your windowsills off because if you notice, the rest of your home can be clean. Even your windows themselves can be clean, but that windowsill is just a dirt and dust catcher. You can think it's clean, but if you take a soapy rag and rub your hand across it, you will see how much dust and dirt was sitting on that. And you'll see because it'll turn black because it's dusty and dirty, whereas you may have just looked at it and it looked perfectly fine. Our windows are definitely a source for our air quality, good and bad. You want to remove the dust mites, and there's several ways to do that. You can use a cloth that has some kind of collector on there, damp cloth or one that has like furniture polish, whichever of your choice, and you can get the dust up. Also, you want to wipe down your furniture for the same reason. And all of the vacuums that we have, they come with all of those different attachments. Use those attachments to get into the crevices of the couch and to clean the outside fabric so that you get as much dust off as possible. And again, the HEPA filters are great. You want to remove dust from heaters. Where I live at, we have them in every room. We can't take them out or do anything with them. And they're a little time consuming to clean. So our management company asked that we have them come in and clean them. But what I try to do is I wipe mines down as much as possible, and every so often, I put the vacuum cleaner to the vents to try to get as much dust out as possible because dust is just not my friend. So that's how I manage to do that. Also, you can use cleaning products that contain less harmful chemicals. And one way to know if a product is harmful is by reading the label on the back of the bottle. It not only tells you whether or not it's harmful, but it also tells you how and where to use that product. Sometimes we use products that we see on TV because we like the colors, we believe the hype, but we may not be using them in the proper way. And we need to use chemicals in the proper way in order to reduce as much harm as possible. So Read the back of the label. It will tell you whether it is harmful to you. You will see words like warning and caution, and that will give you some idea as to whether or not that is a product that you would like to use. If it just says danger, that's probably a product you don't want to use, not only for your air quality, but also for your skin. Other ways to keep a healthy home is to check your carbon, um, your CO monitors. You want to check the batteries by pressing the test button on the smoke detector and the carbon monoxide detector. You want to replace your batteries twice a year. These are important not only for the reasons why they have them there, but these monitors help to keep you healthy. Um, you don't want to let your car run in attached garages for the same reason. It's going to put out the exhaust. That is not something healthy to breathe. Don't grill indoors using a charcoal grill. Now, there are some grills where you can put them right on your stove and you use the flame from the stove. Those are fine to use. But again, turn on the ventilator to absorb the majority of the smoke that may be produced by the oil. But using a charcoal grill inside is absolutely a no go for a multitude of reasons. Not only the pollutants, but the fire hazard that it can cause. It's dangerous. You don't know if somebody may bang into it and knock the charcoal out, and now you have a fire. You want to reduce PM by not burning candles or incense. So we talked about the particular matter a few slides ago, and we talked about the formaldehyde that some candles give off when we're burning them. It's in your best interest to find out what kinds of triggers you have before you start to burn candles and incense. If you just are looking for a clean smell in your home, mopping the floor will give you just what you're looking for. And you can use vinegar and water to do that to ensure that there's no chemical on your floor as well. And do not smoke indoors. I know for the majority of individuals who have smoking habits, um, smoking indoors is the most commonplace. But is it healthy for you and your family? Some family members are not smoking and can get secondhand smoke diseases based on one person smoking indoors. So smoke outside if you have to. But here's a tip about smoking. Cigarettes cravings only last 3 minutes. If you wait 3 minutes, it will dissipate. It will come back, but if you continue to wait 3 more minutes, it will continue to dissipate. By the time you get to your ninth minute, you may not even want that cigarette. Other ways to keep a healthy home. As we said a little while ago, you want to fix any leaks and you want to dry any damp areas solely to stop the mold growth. You want to fix the leaks so that there's no damage to your home, but you need to dry those damp areas to reduce the mold. You want to reduce clutter and clean often to control pests. And we're talking about mice and roaches because they bring in pollutants as well. Asthma, individuals who suffer from asthma can truly be triggered by rodents. You can also request a free lead drinking test kit to test your water, and you can get that by calling 311. So, here are some key messages. You can reduce your family's risk of health concerns related to indoor air quality. You want to control the source of the pollution. So, if it's candles, blow them out. If it's aerosol cans, try something different. Um, you want to clean often and safely. Again, remember to read the back of your cleaning products. There's a label on them, and that label will tell you where to use it and where not to use it. When when most people attempt to clean mold, they attempt to grab for the bleach. That's not the way to clean it. The way to clean it is through soap and water. So remember, we must clean often and safely. You should let your property manager know of any maintenance concerns such as pest, mold, and water leaks. If the property owner doesn't respond, then give 311 a call unless you live in NYCHA. If you live in NYCHA, you must submit a ticket via NYCHA's portal. Here are some key resources. So I'm going to leave these on the screen as I walk through them so that if anybody wants to take a picture of the screen, they can feel free to do so. So, under our key resources, we suggest that you call 311 to order a free drinking water lead test kit. It's simple to use. You just follow the instructions, uncork the tube, you fill it with water, you pop the tube back on, and you mail it back. And within, I think, 4 to 6 weeks, you should have an report on as to if there's any lead in your water. If you live in a building with a dry cleaner, that's part of the building. Some people have commercial properties attached to their residential properties. And if you live in a building that has a commercial dry cleaner or just a dry cleaner attached to the building, then it is in your best interest to email ehac@health.nyc.gov to see if you're eligible for a free air test. It's worth it, it's free. You can also reach out to Healthy Neighborhoods Program and they will conduct free home assessments for tenants with asthma. And for more information about that, you can visit nyc.gov/health and search for HNP. Healthy Homes Information, that's where I'm located at. You can reach us at nyc.gov/health/healthy homes. And if you're looking for safer choices as well as products are concerned that you can use to clean your home, you should visit the EPA's website at epa.gov/safer choice. They will give you products that you can purchase. They may even give you some brand names that you can look at so that you can see what works best for you. So this is the end of my presentation. So before we get into any questions, I want to just say thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation. I want to say thank you for just coming today. We truly appreciate it. And just thank you for being kind human beings. I'm going to open the floor to any questions. If you have any questions, please feel free, or you can write them in the live chat.
Thank you so much, Toya. A lot of information that you gave us. One thing I wanted to touch on was the 90% of our time, we're spending indoors, and the indoor air quality isn't something that's always at the forefront of our mind when we're spending time in our places. And you spoke about healthy homes, but we also think about our healthy workplaces, right? And how can we keep our own cubicles and things safe? And I don't know if you have any sort of suggestions. Are they the same suggestions as our home, or?
So for me, when I come in the morning, there's several of us in here. We come in the morning, and right now the building is under construction and is getting some repairs. So all of the windows are open and they're drilling on the outside. So every day when I come in now, I just have to wipe my desk down.
Mhm,
So I try to just wipe my desk down first with a damp rag, and then I go over it with a little Lysol wipe to ensure that I'm getting up as much of the dust as possible. Because I am allergic to dust and pollen, of all things to be allergic to, I'm allergic to pollen.
Mhm.
I have to be mindful that what I touch is not going to cause me to break out in hives. So I wipe down my desk, I wipe down my chair. Sometimes I even keep a t-shirt on the back of the chair so that I can just take it off in the morning so whatever dust is collected stays
Mhm.
on the t-shirt and not on me. I wipe my phone down as well. And I keep hand sanitizer around just to wipe my hands off on a daily basis throughout the day. But it's a good idea to just get up in the middle of the day and just wash your hands. We teach that when we talk to parents about lead, that when you have lead in your home, that you should wash your hands throughout the day in anything that you touch. So a good part of my day, especially in the morning, I come in a little extra just so I can wipe my stuff off. But yeah, that's what I do.
Mhm. And would you suggest plants for the air for working or
Yes, my
yeah.
coworker behind me, can you
I
see?
saw them. Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask.
So that's my coworker's plants, and she keeps them there, and we all enjoy the fact that they're there. I appreciate them because they're right behind me. So whatever I breathe out, they're breathing out the opposite. So I get to breathe in some good stuff. So I
Mhm.
just feel really good about it. So yeah, I appreciate Monique's plants. But it's okay to put one on your desk. Nothing big, just something small.
Yeah, and I always like plants because not only do they help us breathe, but I also find them calming. And sometimes, when you're at work, you can get stressed out, and just having some sort of plant life. My my office doesn't have windows, so having some sort of thing that just like there is an outside helps out a lot.
Yes, and something about the green
Mhm,
just really draws your eye to it. It is something that you can take a few minutes to focus on
mhm,
and help yourself to relax. Just get some normal deep breathing going. You look at the plant, even if you just rub your hand on your fingers on it, when you start to feel it, it does just make you feel better. It does.
mhm. Another thing I wanted to touch on, you didn't exactly speak about this, but I think you were kind of hinting at it throughout your presentation, is the idea of exposure, right? So a lot of these indoor air quality that we're working with is that it's like minimal amount of air particulate, but it's constant exposure to it that is really what's doing the harm. So can you speak a little bit more that like yes, it may not be something that like a heart attack where, when it happens you have a few hours and then you can get really sick, but it's really this kind of slow burn of being exposed to it. Can you speak more to that?
You kind of just said it all. Yeah, it is, because every I work in a very large office, and
Mhm,
people coming from different parts of the city, so they may bring in a different kind of tree pollen or grass pollen or
mhm,
something like that. So it's really super important that you do what you need to do to decrease it, because you are in an environment that you have no control over, and you can't say where something is going to come from. So yes, it may not be the glue from the adhesive that I have to deal with, but it could very well be the amount of paper, how
mhm,
old the paper is. Did I have to go into a dusty space to get something out of? So all
mhm,
of these things are coming at you all day long throughout the office. So like you said, it's a slow burn. You never know where it's coming from, but it could very well just be a group of things. So, like I said for myself, I'm allergic to the pollen from the trees, but it's the same for the grass, you know? And some chemicals I cannot even be in the space when that. I just put a sign on the microwave that says seafood allergies, because there's several of us in here with seafood allergies. Somebody else may be eating it on another side of the room, but just enough of the smell can come over, and now I have hives. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but yes, it can come from a multitude of places, and it can happen all day. Some days are great, other days not so much.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, you may not be seeing any symptoms of it today, but in a week, then it can become a problem. And we're really here to say, hey, if you take care of it now, that hopefully it doesn't become a problem.
Absolutely, you can solve the problem. If
Mhm,
they say you touch it once and move on, it's the same kind of thing. You don't want to
mhm,
have to keep going over something over and over again. So yes,
mhm,
in the morning, I wipe down my desk. If I go outside to lunch, when I come back in, not only do I wipe off my hands and my face, I wipe my desk down again because I'm not sure what happened in that space. But yes, these are the things that you need to do. And
mhm,
you have to know yourself and trust yourself. You
mhm,
you have to know what works for you and what doesn't work for you, you know?
mhm,
So for me, I know I have to stay away from shellfish, but that doesn't mean I can't eat regular fish. I
mhm,
just can't eat anything in a shell.
mhm, mhm. Awesome. So I'm not seeing anything in the chat, but I just want to thank you again, Toya, for coming and presenting for us. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Cabrini says thank you for the presentation. And I'm so glad that everyone joined us. And we will see you at our next Wellness Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank